Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm DJ. I'm past track and field athlete, 400 hurdler. I believe everyone is actually a 400 hurdler. You just haven't tried it yet. That was always my philosophy. So make sure after this call to go out to the track out there and pull a hurdle out. But yeah, so now I'm just helping out with staff and super excited for just another day. So welcome back, welcome back. Nikki, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm going to come out and say that I am not a hurdler.
Not yet.
I actually tried to hurdle in 7th grade and fell multiple times and decided not my route. But anyways, hello everybody. I'm Nikki. I'm on the track and field team, but yeah, I throw, no running, nothing like that. We just keep it to throwing. So yeah, Dave, how's your week been so far?
So my week was it was interesting. So recently I just started working out my grandmother. She's been kind of resilient at first. She didn't really, but after a while she started coming around, and now she's actually today she got on the bike, and I'm so used to just being able to work out younger athletes and stuff like that. So this has been kind of a this has kind of been a test, and if I go too hard on her, then I get a call from my parents. So that's been interesting. Nikki, how was your week?
My week's been good too. Probably not quite as interesting as yours, but honestly, so I've really been like everybody. I've been staring at my screen 24/7, and so I did finally purchase some blue light glasses. Highly recommend to anybody. I don't know if it actually works, but mentally, I think it works. So, anyways, yeah, my week's been good.
Okay. Well, you'll have to send me the link to those because I think I need, I'm gonna need something like that, and I'm trying to just spruce up my look too as well. And they're fire. They're fire. And well, anyway, speaking of fire, we got a fire lineup for you guys. My man Dave, or no, we're just gonna say Dave. It's Dave. All right, my man Dave, as you saw, he's gonna come and share what it is that the Lord has put in his heart, and we're just gonna be super attentive to that, and just excited to hear what it is that God has placed on his heart for him to convey towards us. Okay, so strap in, guys. Get the pen and paper, or if you're a pencil guy, bring out the number 2. Because we're about to get after it. So without further ado, if you guys can just give like the virtual clap or snaps or whatever you feel like doing, just don't speak, just don't mute yourself, and welcome our speakers for today, Dave Booth.
Thanks, Lauren. I see those clap hands on your screen there. That's awesome. Nikki, I want to emphasize your point of getting the blue light glasses. Done a lot of research on that. They say the blue light in computer screens can fry a baby's brain, like it decreases their development and everything. So it's actually really bad. There's been a couple big studies on it. So I got the blue light glasses. Recommend them for everyone. I'm on your team there, Nikki. DJ, I want to emphasize your point of everyone's a hockey player. They just don't know it yet. So who's ever on here is a hockey player. Just put on skates. It's easy. It's really nothing to it. If I could do it, I think anyone here can do it. So in preparing this talk tonight that I'm about to give, it was more just something that I need to hear myself. So as I'm going through, it's not that I've mastered these things by any means, but something that I need to kind of tell myself over and over again. So I kind of prepared the message that way. So don't think I'm a hypocrite. I'm giving that preface there that I'm working on these things as well. So honestly, like giving a talk, it's so hard. I don't know how preachers and pastors do this stuff, how teachers prepare this stuff. I think this is one of the hardest things to do. So the one thing I will disagree with is you are a speaker. You just don't know it yet. I don't think anyone's a speaker. That stuff's hard to do. So bear with me. I haven't, I graduated in 2006 from Michigan State, and I really haven't went to school since. So I'm like 15 years of just playing a game and really doing nothing. So I hope my brain isn't completely fried and you guys can follow kind of what I'm saying. I think I'm going to try to, I've researched more people and I kind of want to quote a lot of people. So you guys are kind of hearing what I enjoy reading, what people have influenced my life. a little bit rambling. So, yeah, like I said, it's a tough thing to do. So please bear with me. As DJ was saying, I played hockey. I played 10 years in the NHL, which was awesome. But I think the biggest thing for me was playing 3 years in Russia. That was a really huge, just a huge eye opener into life and what, how people actually live. I mean, it's communist. It's people, they make I remember one of the guys on our team said that the computer he was using to like watch our games costs more than he made the whole year. So it's like very low income. I mean, people just really struggle there, but uh, you come back thankful. But Russia also taught me to not be funny. So I'm not here to like crack jokes. You guys got Phil for that. Russia is very strict, no laughing. So after 3 years of being in Russia, I'm not funny anymore. I used to be funny when I was at AIA, goofing around and stuff, but I got a 7-month-old kid now, and so when I say boo, she laughs. I think I'm funny. So that's about the extent of my jokes is with her. So hopefully I can still keep you entertained. I know usually a lot of good stories, a lot of laughing keeps you entertained. You guys, I understand that stuff, but I'll just go kind of into my story. I guess I had a kind of a quest for truth. It started, I was living in Vancouver and Twitter just came out. I remember when Facebook came out. I was in Michigan State. I think it was like 2005. Tommy Goebel, Phil. I don't remember Tommy Goebel. He's like, man, you gotta check out this Facebook. Like you can like add girls that you don't even know, and you can like wave to them and stuff. And so that was like the start of my technology, I guess, advancement. And then fast forward a few years, I got into Twitter. And I just was posting Bible verses, and Vancouver is a very liberal or secular city, like very not, I want to say, opening of Christians. And so people are like, man, you actually read the Bible, you actually believe that stuff. Like, how could you believe something that isn't proven, that isn't truth, or that is just a fairy tale, like Santa Claus? Is like, well, man, these people don't get it. Like, how did they not get it? So I realized I needed to be prepared to give an answer. I couldn't just have my faith that I believe to myself and not let other people know why it is true, why I have this conviction in my heart to make sacrifices in my life. Like, why do I do these things other than just because the Bible says so? Like, I couldn't just respond to these people, hey, the Bible says so. That doesn't really it works for me because I understand it, but sometimes people are searching and they just don't buy into it. So though I just want to start with a quote from Andrei Sakharov. I'm going to use a Russian because of living there. He was the guy, Andrei Sakharov made does anyone know who he is? He made the atomic bomb. And so he said, I used to think the most powerful weapon in the world was the bomb. He goes, I am wrong. The most powerful weapon in the world is not the atomic bomb. The most powerful weapon in the world is the truth. And that was coming from a guy where your whole country's based on lies. I've seen it. That's basically the whole thing is lies. I think that's why he got put into a gulag or something, because he kind of spoke out against what he did. He regretted it. And, the Time magazine did a story on him, but I thought that was very interesting that he would come out with truth as the most important thing in the world. And Winston Churchill, he said, truth is so valuable that it is often guarded by a bodyguard of lies. That usually when you have a truth, there's so many lies around it that try to distract you from what it really is. So with that, I'll jump into kind of the core Bible verse that I want to share. It's John 14:6. And I'm sure everyone has heard this one at some point. It just kind of gets repeated through the circles there, but it is, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And so I just kind of want to break that down. When I was looking through the Greek and the Hebrew, I realized that it actually is, I am the truth, the way, and the life. I actually didn't research Greek or the Hebrew, but I noticed when pastors do that, they sound really smart. So I just wanted to say that I was researching the Greek and the Hebrew, but I don't think that's true. But I honestly think, like, maybe Jesus should have said, I just kind of, maybe he should have said, I am the truth, the way, and the life. I think that flows just a little bit better. Um, I just think once you establish a position on truth and then you get into the way, I think the truth is the foundation, then the way, and then the life comes. So, he did, there's so many things he could have said. He could have said, I am the happiness, I am the comfort, I am the contentment kind of thing. But he doesn't say that. I think once you establish that you're the truth, those things naturally follow. And so I just really kind of dug into that and says, why doesn't he say all these things that we want? Like, we crave these things, this peace, this comfort, this contentment, but he just says he is the truth. And once we establish the truth, once we get to the truth, those things naturally follow from there. So with that, I want to just jump right into a quote to how we establish a truth and what society thinks. This guy Steve Turner, he just wrote a poem, and he's kind of facetious in it. He makes a statement and then he kind of like takes a dig at it. It's actually it's I think it's awesome. I'm not really into poems that much, but I really like this one. Steve Turner says, "We believe in Marx, Freud, and Darwin. We believe everything is okay as long as you don't hurt anyone, to the best definition, to the best of your definition of hurt, and to the best of your knowledge. We believe in sex before, during, and after marriage. We believe in the therapy of sin. We believe that adultery is fun. We believe that sodomy is okay. We believe that taboos are taboo. We believe that everything's getting better despite evidence to the contrary. That evidence must be investigated. You can prove anything with evidence. We believe there's something in horoscopes, UFOs, and bent spoons. Jesus was a good man, just like Buddha, Muhammad, and ourselves. He was a good moral teacher, although we think his good morals were actually bad. We believe that all religions are basically the same, at least the ones that we read were. They believe in love and goodness. They only differ on matters of creation, sin, heaven, hell, God, and salvation." I think that's awesome. We believe that after death comes the nothing, because when you ask the dead what happens, they say nothing. If death is not the end, if the dead have lied, then it's compulsory heaven for all, except perhaps Hitler, Stalin, and Genghis Khan. We believe in Masters and Johnson. What's selected is average, which average is normal, what's normal is good. Almost done. We believe in total disarmament. We believe that there are direct links between warfare and bloodshed. Americans should beat their guns into the tractors, and the Russians would be sure to follow. We believe that man is essentially good. It's only his behavior that lets him down. That is the fault of society. Society is the fault of conditions. Conditions are the fault of society. We believe that each man must find the truth that is right for him. Reality will adapt accordingly. The universe will readjust. History will alter. We believe that there is no absolute truth, except the truth that there is no absolute truth. And so I think he just does such a brilliant job there. I know it was long-winded and stuff, but he really just kind of tackles a lot of what our society says. And really at the end there, he goes, we believe that there is no absolute truth, except the truth that there is no absolute truth. So I know, like, on college campuses, a lot of and just in our world, they say, you got to find your own truth. You find your own truth out there, and whatever's true for you might not be true for someone else. But they don't see the absurdity of that. When you say all truth is relative, that just is that a relative truth? If it's a relative truth, then it's not real. But if you say, is that a relative truth, and you think it's an absolute truth, then there is an absolute truth. So I know it's kind of mind-boggling, as Will Ferrell would say, mind-boggling, but it's just, I find it so interesting that when we can establish truth, that there is an absolute truth, that if to debunk there is an absolute truth, you would have to have an absolute truth to debunk it. So there's no way around it. So when we can establish that, or people say that science is truth, that all truth comes from science. Well, can you test that statement by science? No. So not all truth comes from science. There's another aspect to it, that the philosophy thing, you need both God and science. And, I wish I knew these things when I was in college, because I did have some professors that, evolution's true and all this stuff. You have to ask micro, macro, what are you talking about here? But I just wish I would have had this kind of knowledge back then. But, when you say like a couple science classes, that science is the only truth. Well, it would be like saying, well, we have the um, internal combustion laws for the cars, so we don't need Henry Ford anymore. It's absurd to think of like that. Like, just God created everything, and to say that there is, Stephen Hawking said, and is one of the most famous professors, he said, because there is the law of gravity, the universe can and will create itself out of nothing. And you have to realize that nonsense remains nonsense, even if spoken by highly acclaimed individuals. He is saying, because there is a law of gravity, the universe will create itself out of nothing. And so gravity is not nothing. It makes no sense. So, like, there's a lot of things out there that, I dove into this science thing, into this truth quest, and I just kind of really want you guys to know that there is a lot of research out there that just shows just how awesome, um, just how awesome God is. I mean, He's created everything. He's created our minds. He's created this universe, and that we can really know Him. And so, I guess I won't get into this right now, but there's a reason that people, I guess, steer away from the truth of God. And I think Thomas Nagel, he's a professor at NYU. I want to, just talk about these college professors, just because you guys are in college and you might hear some of the stuff. But I think this guy nails it. Thomas Nagel. He says, I want atheism to be true. And I am made uneasy by the fact that some of the most intelligent and well-informed people I know are religious believers. It isn't that I just don't believe in God and naturally hope that I'm right in my belief. It is that I hope there is no God. I don't want there to be a God. I don't want the universe to be like that. And so a lot of these people will actually alter the truth for something that they just want to be real, and it's not. I say these things because I want you guys to be equipped and not to be afraid. Like, just because they're a professor, I'm sure you have good professors too. I had one good professor there, so that was good. I forget his name, but anyways, I'm just saying this because a lot of this out there, it was just something that I wish I would have knew when I was in college. But Romans 1 talks about this so well. They suppress the truth for their wickedness. The creation is made plain to them. No one is without excuse. Romans 1 goes into great detail on what basically Thomas Nagel just said, that that they just don't want it to be true, so they find other ways around it. G.K. Chesterton, I'm probably going to quote G.K. Chesterton a lot here because he does this so brilliantly. He said, it is absurd for the evolutionists to complain that it is unthinkable for an adamantly unthinkable God to make everything out of nothing, and then pretend it is more thinkable that nothing should turn itself into everything. And I think you guys heard that a different way. Like, what's more reasonable, nothing creating everything or something creating everything? And GK just has a tremendous way about using words to just to portray a truth. So he also said, I just want to read one more quote before I move on, because I don't know how long, Phil, if I ever keep rambling, like I said, I'm not a preacher, just cut me off. I know these guys might be falling asleep, but I'm just going to say one more GK quote, and then I'm going to move on. So GK said that you are free in our time to say that God does not exist. You are free to say that he exists and he is evil. You are free to say that he would like to exist if he could. You may talk of God as a metaphor or mystification. You may water him down with gallons of long words or boil him to the rags of metaphysics. And it is not merely that nobody punishes, but nobody protests. But if you speak of God as a fact, as a tiger, as a reason for changing one's conduct, then the modern world will stop you somehow if it can. We are long past talking about whether an unbeliever should be punished for being irreverent. It is now thought irreverent to be a believer. These are all taken from his book Orthodoxy, which is just amazing. But he just basically says, in our world, yeah, you could talk about God, you can use his name, hey, we pray for you, kind of things like that. But as soon as it starts to alter your conduct and it becomes real, a thing like a tiger, the world's going to try to stop you. And that kind of leads me into the next point that, I am the truth, the way, and the life. That's how I'm going to remember it now. So into the way, you know, um, I find it fascinating that every single time that God does something, and it starts with the commandments. How did he give the commandments? It's impressive. God gives us these rules, but do you know what he did first? He freed the people out of Egypt, and then he gave the commands. And I think so often we reverse it. We think, let's keep the commands, and then God will free us. You see it not only there, you see it. There's the demon possessed man when he sails across the Sea of Galilee, he goes to Gennesaret or whatever, and there's a guy, and the guy, Jesus frees him, and then he says, hey, now leave your life of sin. He says it to the woman caught in adultery. He says it to the paralytic that he goes through the roof. Your sins are forgiven. Now go live your life of peace. He always does it first. And that's something that hasn't really clicked in my life. It's very hard to do because as athletes, we always think we have to earn our keep. That's the biggest thing. My wife knows it too, that our way that we approach life is so athletically driven that we have to earn everything. We have to earn our ice time. We have to earn our playing time. That's the way the world programs us. We have to earn it, and it just offers this free gift that there is nothing you can do to earn it, and that is just so. For me, it's just so freeing to think that I don't have to earn this beautiful gift that God's given. And we all want that wisdom. We all want that knowledge. They're not the same thing. You can have knowledge, but wisdom comes from God's laws, God's commands. And I really just want to emphasize that because that's what really kind of, I guess, I struggled with. I always thought these commands were these commands were binding to me. Like, why am I, why do I have to do this, do this, and do this? It's almost the same as, again, an athlete training. You have to train, you have to put yourself through those disciplines for the greater joy that is to come. But that's something that we earn. But God does it for our freedom. He gives it to us. When Phil was out visiting, I mentioned Psalm 119:96. To all perfection, I see a limit, but your commands are boundless. And I said, how often do we flip that in society? We would say, to all perfection is boundless, but your commands are limiting. But that's not what the psalmist says. That's not what David says. And it's just so freeing. And that's one truth that when you guys walk in, you guys are going to start walking in the way. And you guys will see that you are, and a perfect way to think of this is we are free to choose what we want to do. We're just not free to choose the consequences. The consequences are bound to the choice. So when God gives us the command, it's not that he's just this, just this God out there that just power hungry. He's doing it so that we can have a life and have it to the full. And it's just so freeing when we see that. And trust me, I get it. And, Phil asks, hey, just say what you would say to yourself back then. And it is, it is something that I wish I would have thought of more. Sometimes we just think we're out of the house now, we're free to do whatever we want finally. and we can squander our lives, you know, and it's tough. I mean, it is tough, but you know, when you live in the laws of the God, you are boundless, you are free. I mean, John 8:32, I think, says it is you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Galatians 5:1, it is for freedom that he has set you free. Just there's so much freedom, and it comes from doing a certain way. Just like in America, I'm not free to drive 160 miles an hour down the road, even though I did it one time when I had a nice car. I did it once, 160. It was awesome, but you can't do that all the time. I mean, that's breaking the law, you know, and there's rules in place so we can live the right way. God's laws are boundless. Um, for This is a quote, I think Ravi Zachariah says, I love Ravi, but he says, he's talking about pleasure. And he says, for a legitimate pleasure, you pay the price beforehand. For an illegitimate pleasure, you pay the price afterwards. And that's the thing. There's always a price to be paid. As athletes, what do? You guys pay the price beforehand. You guys go in there, you guys have to train all summer, all winter to get ready, and then you're able to perform. That pleasure of performing, of winning, of doing your goal, it costs you so much. There was such a cost before that you paid before. But hey, you know, I told Phil, like, it's my sophomore, junior year, I got off track. You know what? The perfect example is, you know, drinking. I mean, when do you pay the price? You pay the price the next morning. You know, it's awful. And what do you say? I'm never going to do it again. You know, and you just make these false promises. You know, and that's just one example I thought was perfect. So the last thing I want to say, I don't know how much time I've gone here, but I know I don't like taking more time, is from the truth to the way to the life, is just John 16:33. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. I think really that's what he wants for us. Um, G.K. Chesterton said that joy, which is the small publicity of the pagan, is the gigantic secret of the Christian. And what I think he means by that is the pagan can say, oh, yeah, we're going to have fun. You know, we're going to go out and do whatever we want. But that's just a small little sliver of reality. But the gigantic secret of the Christian is joy. And that's what you guys have when you guys come, just to know that you guys are boundless in him, that his laws are boundless, that they lead you down the right road, that they establish your ways for the future. Um, he, Psalm, again, I'll jump to Psalms. I just want to try to keep tying in these Bible verses, but again, joy. David says, restore to me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. Grant me that willing spirit to sustain me, to follow your ways, to follow what you said. You guys, we have the law written on our hearts. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. You don't have to, it's really not that hard. We can use our minds to convince ourselves that, oh, okay, this is all right, you know, but deep down, I think we know what's right. We know what's wrong. You don't need the Bible to tell you these things. God has written that on our heart. Yes, the Bible will help. It will help you understand the reasons for certain things. But, you know, I don't know where you guys are at, but that's just a challenge that has been with me, you know, is just to kind of follow those things, because they're hard, you know, they're hard to do. The life, I mean, you asked me coming out of college, I lived the life that every single person wants to live. You play in the highest level of sports, you have everything this world has to offer. Every single person dream is, what do kids say when they grow up? I want to be whatever sport they're playing, you know. No one says I want to be a mailman when I grow up, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, in general, people want to reach the top because they think that is where their happiness lies. And I can tell you, I've been around it. Some of the most, and I read this quote. I'm not going to read it, Phil, but I said this to the hockey guys, that so many people end up in therapy offices, billionaires wanting to kill themselves because they're not happy. Like, I had guys buying new cars every month because there's something new out, and they're never satisfied with what this world has to offer you. It's and Jesus kind of mentions that in the prodigal son. I was just reading this. I haven't heard a preacher say this yet, so this is kind of like an original idea, but it talks about the prodigal son, the younger son squanders his wealth, and then what happens? There's a famine in the land, and that's usually what happens. Sometimes we just squander our lives away, and then there's always a famine afterwards. There's always that emptiness, and you're that always that longing for what's next. The loneliest moment in your life is when you have experienced the ultimate and it has let you down. And guess what? There's so many lonely people at the top. They don't have that gigantic secret of joy in their hearts. They say meaningless doesn't come from being weary of pain. Meaningless comes from being weary of pleasure. And so I just want to let you know that you guys can chase that. It's going to let you down. That's the only that's the only reality. I'm proof of it. I've been let down. I've had injuries that let me down. I've had the allure of all that stuff. If I don't come back to who Jesus is, what he's done, and that I am free in him, you get beat up in life. I just want to end with this quote here. It's by David Foster Wallace. Tim Keller always talks about the David Foster Wallace, and this quote. He's a secularist. This guy's not a Christian, and I love when he quotes people that are secularists. But he goes, in the day-to-day trenches of adult life, there is actually no such thing as atheism. There is no such thing as not worshiping. Everybody worships. The only choice we get is what to worship. And he says, you might, whether it's Allah, Jesus Christ, Yahweh, and Buddha, whatever, that's why people go into those things, is because anything else you worship will eat you alive. If you worship money and things, if they are where you tap real meaning in life, then you will never have enough. Never feel you have enough. Worship your body and beauty and sexual allure, and you will always feel ugly. And when time and age start showing, you will die a million deaths before they finally grieve you. And it's just so true, guys. I think just sometimes people can put in such great words, and I think he does such a great job of that no matter what you're chasing, if it's not Jesus, you guys are going to be let down. I've seen it, and I just really want to kind of leave you guys, with that. And that's the thing. Jesus doesn't say, hey, you guys got to earn it. He's not the one saying, hey, look what I did. I died on the cross. Now you guys go die on the cross. He could have easily done it. And honestly, some of us would have said, yeah, I wish it was that way, but it's a free gift. It's a gift that is just given to you. And that's, Phil does such a great job of explaining that to you. I know it's very hard on Zoom, but once you guys, have questions, go to Phil. What do you mean a free gift? Why do I need this free gift? Why do I need forgiveness? All these things. And so I'll just leave you with a personal story, and it's something that brings me joy. There's really, and it stemmed from what Phil said. I remember Phil saying this at AIA when we were there. He's like, don't be afraid of like trying to keep the rules and like, okay, I gotta pray. I gotta pray 15 minutes a night, and I gotta say all the right things. He's like, man, if you are praying and you fall asleep praying, don't you think God just loves that? Don't you think he just loves when you fall asleep in your arms? And I was thinking about that. I was like, man, you know what brings me the most joy right now is when I just say boo to my little 7-month-old baby, and she smiles and she like knows it's me, and she just lights up and giggles. Why would I have that feeling of this is so great if I wasn't made for something that's so much greater? It's just a little hint of the joy and happiness that is to follow. And so I think that was just such a great, you guys probably don't have kids right now, but one day, if you do, you guys will understand that once that kid smiles at you for the first time, that something in your being, in your soul just lights up. And that, like I said, God put it in our hearts. That's why he said there is no one who is without excuse, because that comes from somewhere. And so, whether this made sense or not, get with Phil. He does a great job. I really thank you guys for just having me on and being able to share a few thoughts. And yeah, just keep reading, keep studying. And I think I left Phil with some questions, but sorry if I went overboard or underboard. Usually I go.
Oh, Dave, I love your passion that's there. And it's like, and you've prepared some questions for us too, but I know you look back and say, man, how critical it is in college to be able to know the truth. So thanks for having a heart for everybody who's on the call. I know what you're saying about your daughter. I saw it firsthand last week. And, that you care about where these guys are at. You kind of have a heart of a father. So thanks for taking time out of your deer hunting trip.
That's right.
In North Dakota to spend it with us. So and thanks for your kind words. It's great having you on. I'm gonna throw it back to DJ, and then DJ, you tell us where to go. So thanks again, Dave.
Yeah, no, seriously, thanks. Thanks again. Thanks for the challenge. Man, I feel like you could have gone on for a couple more hours, man. You were hitting stride, man, for real. But yeah, man, just thank you for just breaking down, relative and absolute truths, and just like that stuff is very important, students. That's very important in this world that we're in right now. And we're living in the secular world, and you're going to have those professors who are going to challenge you and challenge your ideologies and your stances and your beliefs. And when you hear a student athlete talk about, when you hear someone say, "I wish I would have known this then," that's when you kind of got to perk up and say, "Oh, like, what is it that you wish he would have known, so I can prepare myself," But anyways, thanks again. Thanks for taking, like you said, your hunting trip. You're not even at home right now that you have time to come join us, man. Thanks a lot, guys, students. Stay connected. We want to know who you are. We want to know all the deets. All right. So make sure you fill out the connect form. That Quinn's got that on deck. Okay. Make sure you follow the IG page. Okay, it's hot, it's new. It's not new, but it's hot. So make sure you follow it. That's MSU_AIA. Okay, make sure you follow that. Prayer request. We need you guys just to fill out these the prayer requests. We have an amazing staff, an amazing team that wants to just go to war for you. Right? We want to be able to just pray for you, lock arms. So go ahead and fill those out. And if you need someone to just call you and pray with you over the line, or meet up at Starbucks. I know people go crazy for Starbucks, but we can easily just meet up and do that. We would love, like, that's part of our job, is to just be able to pray with you guys. Men, okay, time to it's, I can't speak for the women, but I know that we have fire Bible studies going on Sundays at 8 p.m. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're staying equipped. Make sure you're in fellowship with other men and sharpening each other. Okay, we need it now more than ever. Right, Nikki, go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, we also have women's Bible studies starting this Sunday, 7 p.m. Team Bible studies. I know rowing 7 p.m. Dance gymnastics has one 7:30. So yeah, if you don't see your team, make sure to reach out to Hannah or Lauren or your other teammates. Feel free to message me. We're trying to get one for track and field and cross country. So yeah, definitely stay connected there. And then looking to next week, we have Leah will also be speaking next week because she wasn't able to speak tonight, and Wi-Fi problems, And we also have DJ who will be speaking next week as well. Honestly, for those of you that don't know, DJ is a huge part of why I actually started going to AIA 5 years ago. He was actually the MC when I walked in, and I was like, wait, I know this person. I'm supposed to be here. And so, yeah, super excited for him to speak next week. I think he's super inspiring, and he has such an awesome faith story. So really excited for that. So you guys should all be there. And I think that leads us to the end. If you guys do not, we realize we've run past time a little bit, so you do not have to join the breakout rooms. If you need to just head out right after I'm done praying, you guys can just skirt on out of here. We understand sleep's important, but we will have breakout rooms still to discuss some of the topics that Dave spoke about tonight.
Seriously, like, if you have to go, then go. You know, we will be writing down a list of everyone who leaves, but no, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, get out of here. We know we went, you know, we took so much time of your time and intentionally, like we don't want to do that, especially through the Zoom. Okay, so yeah, so leave if you have to.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm just going to pray us out real quick, and then you can either head on out or head into the breakout rooms. So everyone bow your heads, close your eyes. Dear Lord, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for everybody on this call, every single person, whether you spoke or not tonight. You're important. The Lord sees you. So God, I'm just very thankful for everybody. Thank you for Dave's words tonight. I think that he just spoke a lot of truth to us, your truth, Lord. Not to follow what society says, what our professors say, what our friends are saying, but Lord, to follow what you say and who you are and what you say about us. So Lord, I'm just super, super thankful. You provided a lot of insight for us tonight, and you spoke through Dave so wonderfully. I pray that everybody takes their next steps in their faiths, however that looks. I pray that we continue to go through this week with you right next to us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Who's in my group?
Yeah.